Hello everybody, welcome to your Daily Pop. I'm going to share a little bit about my day, why I do like I did yesterday. I love the fan out process. I just break the deck down into like a fourth, fan them out, and then I'll pull a couple cards. I got so lucky today. The weather was beautiful and brilliant. It was bright and sunny and heavenly, so I got to go back to the beach. And I have to tell you guys, because I wasn't feeling good right before it was like Christmas Eve, everybody in my house was like having colds and sniffles and coughing and all of this stuff. And I thought, you know what, till everybody is eradicated of all of this. And because those are the type of things you can tell if one person has it in your house, it's a type of cold that will spread to everybody. So we'd been staying in. So I hadn't gone out in days and days and days and days. I think it was like over 10 days. Oh, look at this. This was what today was for me, I swear. So finally busting out, feeling better, got my voice back full throttle. I went to the beach. Oh my gosh, I love this. Look at this energy for us. Beautiful. And the seagulls were out, the plump little munchkins eating. They were so happy. There were abundant snails everywhere. They were like little piggies in heaven. And I love our local seagulls because they are so chill. They don't run away. Like you walk by them on under a foot of space. They don't care. And if you stand still, they'll just come and surround you. It's so cute. It was the silence that was so heavenly for me. There were no devices, no TVs, no radios, no car engines, because even though it was really crisp and bright, it was on the cooler side, so a lot of people weren't driving around down the beach. It's its own little oasis. So all I heard was the ocean and the whoosh of the water, and the water was so clean and clear. You could see through to the bottom. And for the first time, I got to witness something that I've never in like my life really paid attention to, which was weird because I've been brought up on the coast. And that is that, you know, when seagulls just plop down in the water, they can, even if the tide is coming in and there's waves, they can look like they gently just float over them and they go out. But the water was so clear that I could see their big feet paddling to get them where they wanted to go. Like, you know, you've heard that phrase, ducks look so calm on the surface, but they can frantically be paddling underwater. And that's what the seagulls do. And I've never been able to see their feet. And it was so funny. I loved it. And it was just hearing the waves and the call of them. And then there was a single lady with a German Shepherd waving, and she was so friendly. And then I walked through the big baseball field out into it. It's like it's a big open field. It's bigger than a football field, and it leads into all these expansive trees. And I just stood there, and I don't even know how long I stood there. I literally could have been a minute. It could have been 20 minutes. I have no idea. I just stopped and I thought, I don't hear anything but the wind and the leaves. And it was so beautiful. After being inside, it was absolute heaven. And I thought, this is basically the day. Intuitively, I knew I had to go to a place that would refill every cup and fuel me mind, body, and spirit and make me feel totally awesome. This was the place, and it was also the perspective of where do you feel great and what can you do for yourself to make yourself feel better? Because I get depleted if I'm not out in nature, just one of those connections, even though I am so lucky in my work that it really makes me stay high vibrational, and I could literally live in like a cabin in the woods and do it and never leave and have a good time. But I do need the forest and the ocean and the outside to help me recalibrate, and it did it 100%. But what this means to me altogether, great perspective, feeling invigorated, happy, fulfilled, satisfied, and intuitively reaching for the things that help us do that. You know, it's always around us in nature. It's always going to like click us in there and help us as much as possible. So I'm gonna have a quick sip of coffee, and I'm going to talk about all these the competencies that came in for me today and what it means for me. Okay, so in terms of how we can recalibrate, make ourselves feel good, when we do what we're supposed to do, we get this lovely return to competence. We know that we can fit all we need to fit in a day. You know, we learn how to trust our judgment and make responsible choices. And doing this, it includes succeeding and failing, right? Like I challenge myself all the time when I go out. Okay, don't overspend, don't impulse buy, and that's an epic fail. If I see any kind of fingernail polish at a checkout, I have to like touch everyone and get them. Even though the lady was laughing because I did make a pop into the mall to get somebody something, and every second I was like, oh, and this one. It was so funny. So this is what I mean. Competence. We have to have confidence in the fact that we can give ourselves a list, have the perspective of we can do this and succeed at it, and move forward and feel satisfied with that. Again, confidence. We develop confidence when we learn how to cope with challenges and we try new things on our own, in a group, whatever it is. Another C was connection. Close ties to family provide security and strong values. Our community, I loved seeing my mailman and everybody out. All of this, it could be athletic groups, it can be anything. If you are in a philanthropic endeavor, that, church, all of that. Building character. Kids have a fundamental sense of right and wrong, just like we do. So with guidance and doing things, the right way over and over, getting habitual about that, we learn to make wise choices and contribute to the world. We stick to our values. We become stable within this. Definitely coping, because I know I have a certain bandwidth when it comes to being out in public and what I'm doing. And if I'm having a good time, I always want more. I'm like, I'll walk an extra mile, I'll do this, I'll shop an extra hour, I'll do this. But now I'm knowing, I have so much bandwidth for coping skills. But I learned very well how to manage stress and overcome challenges with positive and adaptive coping strategies. Anybody is pushy or like an adjutant if they're out in public, I just move away from that. I don't like distracting energy, like when people are wigging out or having a tantrum. I move away from that. I realize the world is a good place, and in areas in my neighborhood at times is better when I'm also available in it. I love the faces of my local people. Like today, I always go through Donuts Delight for Hagen singing my coffee. And this old gentleman was so sweet, and he was quite elderly. He dropped his glove on his walk-in. So I rolled down my window and I said, "Hello, excuse me, you dropped your glove." And it took him a couple minutes to kind of pay attention. And he was so sweet. He's like, "Thank you so much. I appreciate that." And he's waving and waving. So then I go through the drive-through and they recognize me. They're always so sweet and nice. And like, she was like, "Oh, we only have 3 yellow vitamin waters." And then she goes, "Do you want another, like a yellow Gatorade?" And I was like, "Sure." And then she found another vitamin water too, and she just stuck it in the bag. I mean, they're just so sweet and thoughtful, and they always look like, I'm always so happy because they always look so happy to see me. And I mean, I'm a good tipper, but I mean, I don't go Rockefeller or anything. Some days, I do. I'll put in something, a little extra, but it's like, that's nice. That's a nice feeling when you're out in community and people are genuinely happy to see you. That kind of thing is fulfilling and refills my cups. And then intuitively, I know what to reach for next time that brings me great communication and having fun. And again, I have this thing too where I do have to remind myself that it's okay if I'm out in public and other people get angry or people are honking their horns. I don't have to go crazy. It's not my job to make everybody around me that I don't even know happy, that kind of thing, right? And also, I love this thing that I read today. I don't need permission to be who I am, think what I think, nor to honor myself. I needed to honor myself and walk on the beach. And I forget it. I always think there's a crowd of people around me. I'm constantly having conversations with myself about, I can't believe the seagulls are doing this. Look at these shells. I get all happy. I'm constantly talking to myself. So that's why I like an empty beach. But it does all of this for me. It brings up my perspective. It makes me happy. It makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me get aligned in the proper way. And again, it's like, you can have a whole bunch of issues going on. You can have like a conversation with the most draining person. You can have people being disagreeable and all this stuff. But once you go out in nature, in a big open beach, an open field, a forest, whatever, it all evaporates. It literally evaporates. And then you really see what's important. And that's your peace of mind, And then you start to think of all the good things and why you're grateful. And sometimes the simplicity of nature reminds us that, we don't need a whole hell of a lot. We don't need all those things that we think we need. We don't need a whole library of whatever. It could be DVDs, tarot decks, a huge wardrobe, new car, that all of that stuff is meaningless if we don't have the nature, the nature and the connection and the grounding to solidify, what really matters. And I'll take a walk in a big, beautiful field and park with a family member or by myself over, any kind of glittering event any day, because it fortifies me. And that's what you guys are going to connect to. What fortifies you, helps you grow, stabilizes you, informs you, connects you to your guides, makes you feel free, expansive, and everything. It's just anything that was priorly oppressive, when you step out into that kind of energy, just disappears completely. And it's an entirely different perspective of life, like, wow, I not only have everything I need but more, right? And what can I now do for somebody else to provide this kind of fun energy for them? So that's your daily pop, you guys. Love and light.